I have found some vulnerabilities in my virtual machine by using Nmap tool and scanning the ports of this virtual machine here. The name of the virtual machine is Kioptrix, and I used Nmap tool in order to scan the open ports, and I found that one port, 445, is open. If you do not know how to scan a system with Nmap and find open ports and relative vulnerabilities to those ports, you can watch my movie on how to use Nmap to scan the ports of a machine. So I scanned the ports and I found that the 445, the port that is related to Samba or SMP protocol, is open. So there is a great vulnerability relative to this open port that I found it, and we're going to use these vulnerabilities in order to gain remote access to this virtual machine. In order to gain remote access to this virtual machine, we need to run some scripts that will help us to attack these vulnerabilities. These scripts are called exploits. And Metasploit is a great tool that will provide different types of exploits for a penetration tester in order to attack different types of vulnerabilities. And we're going to use this tool in order to attack the vulnerability of Samba. So let's just use the first command, MSF console, and open the console of Metasploit. Here it is, and that is the console of Metasploit. We need to wait. Yeah, here it is. As you can see, the prompt has changed to MSF6, which shows that the MSF console is showing itself correctly and appropriately. So I'm going to hit Ctrl L and clear my terminal. I know that there is an exploit called trans to open, and that's the exploit that I'm going to use in order to attack the vulnerability. So I'm going to search and find that exact exploit in Metasploit by using the command search and the name of that exploit. The name of that exploit is trans to open. So as you can see here, we have gotten 4 types of exploits, and all of them are actually trans to open, but each of them for a specific operating system. So you can see BSD, Linux, Mac, Solaris, different operating systems. My target machine or my virtual machine is actually using Linux. Because of this, I'm going to use the exploit that is usable for Linux distribution. So that is number 1. In order to use that exact exploit, we're going to use the command use and the number of that exploit, which is 1 here, and hit enter. So you can see by hitting enter, my prompt has changed to MSF6 exploit Linux Samba trans to open. So here, we're going to use the command options in order to see which and what kind of options in this exploit are available for us. So hit enter and we can see that we have different options here. For example, we have RHOST, which stands for remote host. Remote host is actually our target, and we need to actually state the IP address of our target. So you can see that here in the current settings, there is no IP address in front of our host, so we have to set that. For doing so, I'm going to use the command set RHOST and then the IP address of my virtual machine, which is in this case 183. That's it. So I set that, and we can just see that it is being set successfully by using the options command once more. And in front of RHOST, we have the IP address of my virtual machine. We also have another option and part here, which is actually payload options. And you can see that this payload is related to Linux distribution, as we have already chosen. And we have also chosen a specific payload. So payload, in other words, is kind of different types of exploits. So we can use them. For example, we can use one payload, and if that payload doesn't work for you, you can just change your payload. So we have to set our payload. That's it will give some more options for us in order to gain remote access to our targets. So I'm going to set my payload by using the command set payload, and it's going to be for Linux, and I'm going to hit tab, hit tab twice, and we have this part, which is showing a bunch of different payloads for us. So you can just use any of them, and if that specific one doesn't work, you can switch your payload to another one. But here there are two specific fundamental things that's important to know. What exactly shell reverse and shell bind is. And shell is kind of connection. It's kind of session that will be established between us and between our target. And this connection between us and our target will allow us to gain remote access to target. And in the shell, the reverse type of the shell, we are the system that will actually listen to a specific port, and our target will get connected to that specific port. But in bind type, actually we are the person who gets connects, and the target will listen on a specific port. So they are kind of vice versa, but the purpose is the same. So you can use each of them that you want. In this case, I'm using shell reverse TCP. So I'm going to use shell reverse, hit tab, and it will be auto-completed for you, and hit enter. So I'm going to use options once more to see if everything is fine. The remote host to target IP has been set, the payload has been set to the desired one, everything is fine. So the only thing that is remained here is I'm going to turn on my virtual machine here, so it will be turned on. And now that it's turned on, I can simply run the exploit here by using Metasploit. For running the exploit, you need to type run and hit enter. And Metasploit is trying to get remote access to our target. So let's see if it is successful or not. And here it is. So command shell, it says command shell session opened from this IP address, which is the IP address of my own system, from this port 444 to the IP address of our target. So bravo, great, we have gained remote access to our target. Let's see if I can run this command. And yeah, who am I? I'm root. And let's see if we can just see in which directory are we. We are in temporary directory, and we can use cd ... in order to get back, and in order to just go to etc directory. And in etc directory, there is kind of interesting folder for us, especially for penetration testers. You wanna see the hash passwords of the users. So the file is called shadow file. We can cat shadow in order to just see the hash passwords of the users. So I'm going to hit enter, and yeah, great. So here there are two users for us, Harold and John, and we can see the hash passwords of these two guys, great, users of this virtual machine, and also we have the hash password of the root user, great. So yeah, bravo, we have just gotten root access and actually root access to our virtual machine. I hope that you've enjoyed the video.